So today we are all the way from Greece. We are going to speak about how the filmmaking industry is faring out, especially at the time of the COVID-19. Vahan, could you please introduce yourself and what do you do for business?
Yes. Uh, Hello, Nour. Thank you for having me. My name is Vahagn Karapetyan. I'm an Armenian filmmaker based in Greece, in Saloniki. I graduated from film school in 2017, and right now I'm making my first tape in film industry. I have done after graduating short horror film which presented in several film festivals around the world. And right now I'm working for another projects. And of course, right now the COVID period, it's very hard for many filmmakers. It's industry it's stopped here in Greece. I think and it's not only here, from around the world. It's very hard times for filmmakers. And but we need to go forward, do not stay. I I contacted with my filmmakers, with my fellow students, and we are trying to make short films at this period. I think it will be good, and it's very hard times to look for production companies because no one went to risk and take big projects and invest the money in films because no one knows what will be going on in 6 months or 1 year, and it's making very hard also for us to look producers. And also the situation it was in 2020 when cinemas was closed. Every festivals they're done only online or for several people, only for judges. In my opinion, because my film was presented in 46 festivals this year, and I thinking I lost my opportunity to travel, to go to meet new people, and to open doors, to make new connections because of this kind of festivals, which I mean that festivals is doing in online.
So my first question here, how do you define Greek filmmaking, Greek cinema? How is it different from the world stage?
It's I would say here in Greece cinema it was harder even before the COVID. In COVID time it's made it very much more difficult because it was difficult, and right now it's very difficult. I would say if there were 10 films in Greece at this period, it was only one or two films. No one went to risk and make a film here because cinemas are closed and there is no platforms like a Netflix where you go to sell your films. Only way it's go to cinemas. And if cinemas closed, it was no meaning to make a films. And all industries was stopped here, and everyone tried to make a job in different kinds. I'm personally and my friends, everyone we start to shoot like events or video clips for making money, pay for our bills. It was very difficult. And also it's two kinds of cinema I will say here. It's one you're making commercial films for cinemas, and in other one it's art house. And art house makers, they are making grants from public grants and make their films. Some of them they are filmed, their films, but even for them it's very difficult because it's art house, it's a festival style film, and festival are closed. And I think in even for them it's not have a meaning to make a film. No, and its cinema was a prison here, I would say. in Greece.
Okay, yeah, yeah. This is the current vision and the current scene, like everything is closed. But however, on the long run, how do Greek films plan to compete in or on another arenas? Like, are you planning to compete in Africa, in the Arab world, in Asia? How do you see the other world?
In my short period of a career, I been few big festivals like Berlinale, Sarajevo, and personally, and I have a connection with a few people with whom I'm touching and I'm following what they are doing. I think cinema, it's nowadays it's better to make a film for globally. That someone from Egypt, from Japan can see and watch your film because it's proved in this period, in COVID period, because in online everyone from everywhere can watch films, and it's a Netflix. And I think the future of a film, how I see and how it's going, it's so many. It will be much more in online platforms. It's making difficult for local ones to make a film just for local audience, like in Greece, because no one will. It's only few people will be interested about it, and it's will. On the other hand, it can be open with great opportunities to make a film for global market, like your film, like films from Africa. You can watch films from Africa or from South America. It was a very difficult in the past because you didn't find nothing from African filmmakers to watch it. But right now, I think it can be open some doors.
So
But
you mentioned that you are working on a horror film.
yeah,
Why are horror films like so popular?
yeah. Popular where in the world?
Yeah, I mean in Greece and in the world as well.
Yes, I think horror films they are popular like in comedy films. I think it's same. If you see statistic horror and comedies, and they are popular. But I would say if you see how many drama films have been made during this year and horrors, they are very low. If it's not comparable with dramas and other genre films. I personally love that genre. First of all, it's a very hard genre horror to make someone to scare or someone to follow your story and feel feelings. Uh, I'm personally go into it because I loved horror films from my childhood, and it gives me very good opportunities to make a film which can be presented around the world. Everyone can sit and see that movie. I love to make a film which one will be no borders from everywhere in the planet who's loved and horror films, genre film can watch these films which I'm making. And in my opinion, horror films they are become popular because in that reason they are giving you an opportunity to have an international audience, which is very difficult to make it with local comedies and local drama films and art house films. But in horror is, I think, it's giving you an opportunity to travel across the world, and because there is a huge audience would love to watch on horror films. I think even in your region there is a lot of people love to watch horror.
Okay, so my question here is, what are your favorite horror films and what have you learned from them that you are taking to your own job?
My horror films, films and horror films which inspired me, it's an 70s films. It's an Alien, Ridley Scott Alien. The Exorcist in 70s. They inspired me. I love so much their film photography, how they are even script, how they're presenting a story, how they are put your into story characters, how he's moving and directing style. Frankly, every time which I trying to make a film, write a script and directing, I'm watching an alien. Every time I'm watching and I'm thinking, "Hmm, I went to make film something common, some photography, some this style of thinking. It's that film is inspired me, and I think it's one of great horror films because they are created a huge. They are created their planet, something which is created and it's very real. In meanwhile, and my dream is to write a script like Alien, like The Exorcist. That kind of stories are that are inspiring me to write my script. And my last thing is a Wicca book. It's about witchcraft, about witch, and it's I done a lot of research about this genre. When I studied for my master, I've done my master paper. I write how traditional myth becomes an horror script, and I researched a lot of stories about myths and witchcrafts, how they becomes from for the Christian for nowadays, and I translate. Oh, no, I transfer these in my scripts in traditional myths. I love, and I finished a script not long ago. It's called Godark, and I take a traditional myth from Peru. I
Okay.
transfer it into my script, and I think it's an amazing because it's giving you an opportunity to take a to travel around the world and create something which can make it look good. I don't know. In my opinion, I think in another reasons why so many filmmakers love to make an horror, I think it's that because they can choose stories from around the world and make it their own.
Okay, so my question here, Vahagn, like, how do you select your ideas? How do you decide that this is a good idea for a movie?
Oh, great question. Look, couple of weeks ago, example for this short, very short film which we are making, going to make. Couple of weeks ago, I speak with a phone with a friend of mine. She's a makeup artist, and she's advised me to make a film, very short, few minutes, on horror script, where she can make something very unique, yeah, like a makeup artist, because everyone now is sitting at homes, no one is doing job, and we want to make something at this period. And it's her words inspired me, and I wrote two scripts. Very short. One is 2 minutes, and another one is 8 pages. I think it can be an 8 minute. It depends from a period, that can inspire you to make a films, and of course it's depends uh, from situation if you can find source to make it. I love Alien, but at this period, I will not go to write script like an Alien because no one will produce it here in Greece or in Europe. If I want to Alien, I need to move maybe somewhere else, maybe in US to make it. And it's better when you writing script. My advice, if you someone writing script, to see what he have on his hands, if he can create this film it. It's better to write something short and easiest and make it with few people. In my opinion, I'm right now I'm doing this because to write something big, which I have done with producers, it will be take very long time period to make that film, and you are even not sure if it can be made, if they can find the finance. And right now I'm going to use internet, YouTube platforms, because they can give you good opportunity of film have been seen from around the world.
Yeah,
And okay, you of course you don't know if it will be seen, but you have nothing to lose. At least you are working, you're making something which you like at this period.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you like to tell your audience right now?
My audience. Oh, it's another great question. I I will encourage them to follow and watch films not only coming out from big companies, also on independent films, independent and horror films, because they are very great films. It's making from indie filmmakers, and for them it's very hard to break out in industry to show their film. And it's in this year it was much more harder because indie films that no one sees that films, and festivals that postpones or they are done only online, and it was very hard for indie movie makers. I would suggest my audience to be to see much more independent films and help indie, and it will be help new movie makers to go forward, and of course to see films from around the world, because it's amazing. It's great when you can watch film from Vietnam, from Peru, from Egypt. It's great. It's kind of like you're traveling, you're meeting their culture, and I think it's great for me personally. I love it, and I will advise them to watch film from around the world.
It has been awesome talking to you, Vahagn. Thank you so much for that indeed.
Thank you so much for having me for this meeting.